Today is an important day because we need to understand that if we have decided that we are going to do an MBA, what exactly do they teach? You might have your own reasons. You might have been advised by your parents. Your friends might have gone and chosen an MBA program. But you really need to know the right reason why one should be doing an MBA. I have been a part of IIM Ahmedabad cohorts across 5 batches, and I've seen that the cross-section of people, of students who come, are coming from MBBS background, engineering background, pharma background, Bachelor of Commerce, Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Vocational Studies. Each and every field is represented at the best MBA schools. Now, what makes them feel that even after getting a professional, for example, an engineering or an MBBS medical field or a pharma field or an arts or a commerce, why you still need to top it up with an MBA? That's important to understand. Why? Well, in 99% plus cases, the MBA, that is a postgraduate study, is the last formal years of study that you do in your entire life. 99% of you. The rest of you would go on to do a PhD or an MPhil. Now with the new education policy, you can straight away join a PhD program. So for 99% of you, MBA is a finishing school. Now, finishing school means beyond this, you would not have any more formalized learning apart from the regular training sessions that you might undergo at your companies. Or these days, there are a lot of training opportunities available free of cost, and they are open on the internet through courses that are even run by Harvard University. So in the sense that this is a last formal education, you must know what can MBA do to you when you go out to work, to develop a professional career in the world. Now, most of us, either we are working for an organization or you are starting your own entrepreneurial venture. In both cases, it is about how you will be able to run the company, how you will be able to collaborate the efforts, how you will be able to understand the opportunities and the challenges coming from the external world, challenges coming from competition. So almost all of us, even if after doing an MBBS, let's say some of us go into the clinical management field, or let's say managing a clinic itself, there are very few and very deep professionals. For example, an MBBS doctor who only wants to treat patients, that's all he wants to do. A scientist who only wants to work with a specific research question. But otherwise, once again, the statistics is very high on that, 90% plus people. In fact, I can even go on to say 98, 99% plus people, they are working for companies in a business environment. So you need to understand business. You need to know the nuts and bolts of how business is done. What are the factors that affect it? Where do you learn all of them? So MBA is the final frontier where you learn management. Now, my favorite question to all of you, and often in my first few classes, I start off asking a question whether management is science or art. Whether management is a science or art. Before that, we need to understand what do we call a science and what do we call an art? Which one is easier or difficult? So let's delve upon this question, and we will then go over to how do they do it at a management institution. So what is science? All right. So what do we teach at MBA college? And so if MBA is about business management, and that we all need to understand and do, almost every household, every person is doing or is a part of a certain business being done by somebody else. You still need to understand the business management. So what is it about understanding management? Let's understand first, how do you learn certain things? So the first question comes to my mind, is it a science or an art? Now, what qualifies science? What do you call a science? Science is objective. Science is definitive. Science can be measured. Science can be experimented. Science can be researched. Science can be repeated. And every time you repeat an experiment, you will get the same result. That is science. So you try it out, 2 plus 2 will always be equal to 4. You do 100 operations on that, 4. It can be experimented, it can be measured. How many steps do you walk every day? It can be measured. Every time you take the same steps, same length of steps, you will walk 1 kilometer in the same time frame. That can also be measured. It can always be proved. And if you live longer, there is a experimental research that happens that all those people who walk well and they invest time in their health, they live longer. They live a healthier life. So that's what is science. Science can be proven, researched, and can be repeated and get the same result. What is art then? Art is subjective. It changes with context. It changes with circumstances. It changes with the background of the person who is trying to understand art. I'm reminded of my old days when there used to be a movie, Amitabh Bachchan and Shashi Kapoor, and the movie was named Do or Do Panch. Now, we were always confused, how can do or do be panch? So that's the art of managing well that brings in extra efforts from people that while in a normal case, they would have contributed 2x, 2 people could have contributed 4x, but actually the result comes out as 5x, 6x, 7x. So art is about managing things which are changing, subjective, people dependent and all that. Now I am coming back to the question, is management a science or an art? Can we have the first question? Is management a science or an art? We have about 88% saying both, 12%, the balance saying it's an art. And I'm really surprised that there are no engineers in the class who might want to say management is science as well. Oh, yes, the correct answer is that it is both. But what we need to draw out inference from this discussion is which side does it veer towards? Whether it is towards the science side of it or towards the art side of it. Then we need to also understand which one is easier to manage. Okay, so let's understand what makes management science. All right. So as an art, management is art because it requires practical knowledge, and practice is always different in different contexts. It requires personal skills. People are different. The way you interact is different. It requires creativity, out-of-box thinking, which cannot be defined pre the event. And that is why, it is always, you cannot predict, what can be more creative or less creative. It's an art. It comes through practice. So one person today, if he is not very good at management, tomorrow he can become very good at management through practice. So that's again an art of learning. And the last one, I'm not able to see this. And the last one is goal orientation. Depends on, where do you want to reach? Where does the organization wants to reach? And you will always be moved by different goals that drive your everyday life, drive your weekly performance, drive your quarterly performance, half yearly, annual, 3 years, 5 years, strategic plan, 2025, 2030, 2050. The goal post keeps shifting. That's again an art to manage with changing goal posts. Every time a footballer hits the same shot, it will not result into a goal because even the goalkeeper is smart enough. He has done an MBA. He knows, he understands that the player is trying to make a science of hitting powerfully in the right top corner. 5 of his last shots have been goals. So he's going to hit there once again. And this time the goalkeeper will not allow. So the situation keeps changing. People keep learning through practice. People can devise new ways of hitting a goal, hitting the ball towards the goal. It depends highly on personal skills at different points of time, which you can improve upon. And it is very practical. That makes management quite a lot of art. But there is a science also around management, and that's very clear that all the concepts that we are talking about, all the technological aids that we are talking about, what is management, what is delegation, what is decentralization, what is financing, what is interest rate, what is loan, all of that are concepts that are proven time and again. Loan means loan is a loan, and everybody considers that as a loan. So loan has a science behind it. There's an interest rate, it doesn't come free. So there's an interest rate behind a loan, that is the science. How much is the interest rate? Again, you come towards art, that some people might get the same business loan at 14%, while others might get it at 16% because their risk perception was high or low. There comes the element of art. There are theories, there is organized knowledge. There's a lot of research that has happened in management. And so there is an organized knowledge. That is science. And the more you practice, the more you perfect. For example, all the Six Sigma, all the just in time, all the outsourcing, the cost of production, all of that is a matter of practice. If you use a certain amount of input, a certain amount of output will come out of it. All of that is science of management. But increasingly, are we going towards management becoming more of an art or science? Now, the answer to that is very ambivalent. Why? Because more use of technology is going to make things science, but more changes happening around consumer behavior changing, government policies changing, international trade policies keep changing, the climate keeps changing, people keep changing, people's skills keep changing. Amidst all these changes, even science that is till a point of time, what is science also starts becoming art because it is being influenced by people. Now, which one is easier to understand? So when we are talking about how do they teach, what do they teach at MBA, if management is to be learned, is learning science easy or is learning art easy? Let's have a poll question on this, please. Science is easy to learn because it doesn't change with time. Art is about saying that today when you talk to a friend, he's in a good mood, he will go and treat you with a kachori and samosa. Tomorrow, if you talk the same sentences, he might start shouting at you. Same thing repeated, same event repeated, same words spoken, context changes, people's behavior changes. It's very difficult to understand people, human beings. On the lighter side, it is always said that it's very difficult to understand your wife. But then when you talk about workplace, people not work as individuals, they also work in groups. That's an additional element of complexity. How do you learn managing people? You might be able to learn how to manage a single person, but when they come and behave in a group, you really need to understand still further what is like managing people groups. When all of them are working together, the elements of coordination, which is an art, the elements of understanding people, that's an art, how people are motivated, that's an art. It's very difficult because the goalpost keeps changing, because the circumstances keep changing. So there is no single best way of doing things. And that's what almost every research, every expert has talked about. There is no one best way of doing things when you talk about art. Whether it's dance, music performance, a song can always be bettered. Somebody can sing even better than Lata Mangeshkar. But that's what it is. Science, if you know what to do and that will lead to a certain result, science is easier to understand that way. It's a different case. Why some of us might get confused with is, that science, when you do science study of class 11th, 12th or a BSc or an engineering, that might be more difficult than doing a BA or a BCom. That has been the history of how people approach these lessons. But that's fine. To me, what we are trying to define is management is not easy to learn. It's veering towards an art. And in this environment, you have to achieve success. In this environment, you have to achieve success. It's a difficult combination of science and art. Tilting more towards art, hence it is difficult, and it requires different ways of teaching and learning, and that's what you get at an MBA. It's just the right platform to learn those professional and other skills that will help you succeed in the real world, because success is not a coincidence. It's a byproduct of hard work, practice, discipline, dedication, passion. What you see as success is the tip of the berg. Success is an iceberg. What people see, they are not able to see the efforts behind that you need to put in to achieve that success. You may fail at times. Hard work, discipline, dedication, focus, sometimes sacrifice. Most of you would have seen Milkha, the movie. Even Mahendra Singh Dhoni had a movie on him. Even that boxer, what was her name? So she was the world champion, and she had a movie made on it. Priyanka Chopra was starring there. You would have seen how hard did they work, practice, and how many sacrifices they did, and how many failures they faced, but they were still persistent, disciplined, focused, kept on putting the hard work. That's what will then eventually lead to the success which people see, which people worship, which people recognize, and that's what you get paid for. And everybody wants a good salary, everybody wants a very good career, everybody wants growth, everybody wants a good quality of life. All of that success is a result of a lot of things that you do. And so we need to understand how does an MBA college give you those elements. And this is the slide now which will keep repeating. This is eventually my last slide, but each one of these items are some things that we need to discuss and let you know that how these things are done at an MBA college. Now, to start with, even if somebody shakes me up from slumber, if I'm sleeping and somebody shakes me up, sir, tell me, really, think everything is okay, whatever you say, but tell me one thing that an MBA college helps me do. Tell me one top. There might be a lot of things, that one on top that actually gives me the real skill, the real differentiating skill. And that is knowledge to deal with ambiguity. The world of business doesn't have a tried and tested set of formulas, and that is okay in every situation. It's a very ambiguous world. There's so much change going on out there. Economics, policy, competition, customers. Everything is liable to change over a period, if not immediately, over a period of time. So things which are almost set and good today, tomorrow they will turn ambiguous. Different times of the day, same person will have different behaviors. It is ambiguous. And you have to make sense out of these unstructured situations. Every business has a different situation, different day, and it's all unstructured. You don't know, you have to make sense out of it, what will work, what will not work. And first, for that you have to understand what is the problem. Problems are not defined. Problems are not, historically, what problems had been faced, they are recorded in case studies. They find their place in the MBA books. But every day, a new challenge, a new situation could be different. Even the nature of the problem, there are a lot of similarities with what is written in the case study and what is the actual problem that you might be facing, but there are different people there. It's a different time point. There are different competitors. Customers' needs might have changed, customer behavior might have changed since that case study was written or the book was written, and today what you are facing. Let's say we pick up a case. Let's weave all of these and pick up a case and try to work it together. Let's say a case of somebody wants to put up an entrepreneurial venture of customized shoes. So whatever color fits you, whatever design, styling fits you, or maybe what cushion every leg requires, every heel requires a different cushion, every structure of your foot requires you can actually make a very comfortable one if you actually fit to the structure of your feet, any shoe. So the customized shoes, there are at least, I'm sure there are about 15-20 startups. One of them I had advised also, and one of them I clearly know very closely because she's an alumni of Takshila Business School itself. DesiMochi.com. So let's pick up that example, okay? Now, a customized shoe for one person, let's say when you are young, your foot is a different structure. When you are a little older, 1 year or 2 years later, your foot has a different structure. If everything else remained the same, even the length might have changed. For a growing foot, those people who are into physical exercises, those people who are in sport, they use a lot of their feet. So it's of utmost importance that they have the best suited shoe that they can wear. So that's the case, okay? So there is a business around it and somebody wants to set up that business. Now we have to look at, is it easy? You just think of a business idea and you just go out in the market and set up that business. Is it easy? Do you find customers so easily? Is the customer really waiting for something like that to happen, the eureka moment?
There is competition out there. There's competition from formal footwears, Bata, Lakhani, Liberty. There's competition from informal sector. Every next corner you will find that there is a shop which is not branded, but it sells all kinds of shoes. You have to fight them because they can actually make it at a lesser price, and a customized shoe might cost more. So you have to find out who's your right customer. Is it easy to find out? Then you look at social media, you want to profile people based on their incomes and probably reach out and ask that, do you want to get a customized shoe? It's ambiguous, there are no clear answers to that. If there was a clear answer, what would happen? Left and right, almost everybody will get into the business of making customized shoes. And everybody will make money. Do you really think so? There's so much change going on out there. And that's why at an MBA college, the pedagogy is different. Forget the days in an undergraduate school where there would be questions, where professors will come and outline those questions. There will be certain set of questions that we will prepare on, and there are guides to success for the exam. Instead, at an MBA institute, you have to learn to work hard to learn more. While you're coming and joining is a science, the learning is an art at a management school. What kind of knowledge, functional knowledge that we give or any MBA school gives is about finance, very fundamental thing, finance, business management, legal aspects, people handling, organization structuring, consumer understanding, how to do marketing, sales and branding, where to get the money from, financing, loan, equity, supply chain, how to get your raw materials and dispatch your finished goods. All of that is specific functional knowledge. But what is more important, so every MBA college actually gives this functional knowledge, but how do they give? And what are the other things that are important that they teach at an MBA college? That is important to understand. Okay, so the different pedagogies which people use, different modes of teaching at a typical MBA college would be, the most basic is the textbook. Professor makes presentations out of those textbooks, and they teach with cases and examples. You have blackboards, you have smart boards, you have case studies which have been written to describe a failure or a success, and you have in-class discussions on those case studies. You can get an industry expert in the class. You could go to an industry to visit physically and see the operations practically. You could have simulations in the class where the actual industry is made into a software where people take decisions and learn from taking those decisions. They might fail, they might succeed, and so when you fail, you take another decision that might succeed, and so on. So that's a simulation that you do. At MBA colleges, students organize a lot of events. We encourage, every MBA college encourages a lot of events to be organized. And there's a lot to learn because that's an effort. It needs coordination. It needs getting people together to work on it. It needs a lot of supply chain, getting the things and distributing the things. The MBA college also shares the learnings through research and paper writing. The students get topics to research on. They could do a live project with the industry, or they could do a project with the faculty, or they could do independent projects. Do some research on a topic which you were interested in. That's what I said. At MBA, again, there's no science. It depends on you, what you want to learn. So if you are interested in something that you want to do in life, in management, you pick up that topic and do a research and paper writing on that. Then you have assignments. overnight assignments, weekly assignments, every paper would have an assignment. Then writing summary of books and chapters. Where did you ever do it? Like, apart from an English language Bachelor of Arts, or even in class 12, some people have to read books and write a summary on that. But here at a management school, you do very regularly. Then after you've gone through that, you have to present it before the class. It's not just about learning for yourself, it's about sharing. Not necessarily that all those sitting in the class would learn from what you are telling, but at least you get a refresher on what you have learned. Then there are role plays. People take position of a CEO at a company when you're talking about a case and then argues, and there is another person who takes the position of a CFO, Chief Finance Officer, and he argues with the CEO why something was done was right or wrong. Then you've got group activities, group projects, group exercises. You have group discussion every now and then. At Takshila, almost every subject evaluation considers group discussion as an integral part of evaluation. And then you have examination, presentation with group discussion. So pedagogy takes different forms. And you see in this that apart from the textbook, everything else is about effort, extra effort outside of the science of written word. So book is a science of written word, earlier research that has happened. Beyond that, everything is about making things learn better, making people learn better, presenting them in the more suitable form that it tucks your mind and gets inside there. All right, let's go over to a question that I want to ask. Let me first read out the question for you. There are a lot of companies doing the same business, and there are a lot of challenges in every business. Are all the challenges of businesses similar nature, requiring similar solutions? That is the question. So I already see the pulse of it, and majority of you, more than 60% of you, when you say no, that's the exact answer. That's the exact answer. Even maybe might be little far away because the day has changed. Yesterday's problem and today's problem, even if they are of similar nature, the day has changed. So there is some change. Yesterday's problem was being dealt by one marketing manager. That marketing manager has left, and so today there's another manager. He has to take a decision. So I'll give some points to maybe also, but no is the right answer. All challenges are different and they require different solutions. So how do you then actually learn management if things are changing? So you have to learn the science of changing things, and your focus then has to be on solving real problems. You cannot, no, wait, hold on. Before that, we need to also talk about that soft skills is one of the most important additions to people skills at an MBA college. Before I go to the solving real problems. And what are the soft skills we are talking about? We are talking about communication skills. And if you ask me once again, if I'm sleeping and suddenly somebody asks a question, tell me those 3 skills which will take you the farthest distance, which will, if those skills are good in you, then nobody can beat you in every field, in any field, you will excel. And those 3 skills, even closing the eyes, I can say read, speak and write. If you are a good reader, you will be a good speaker. If you have a good speaker, people will recognize you. People will respect you. People will favor you. People will support you. People will select you. People will train you. People will grow you. That's what a good communication can do to a person. And obviously, if you are doing that well, you will have higher confidence, you will have better opportunities. If you write well, even that's a great skill, because it also adds to your ability to speak well. When you write, you organize your thoughts. If you write well, you have a good skill of organizing your thoughts. And that's where a good speaker who is a good writer, he will obviously be a good reader. If all three are there, you are assured of a great career, irrespective of what you score in the exams, at any exam, because you will be noticed. And obviously, with an MBA, if that skill comes, that's a great skill addition. And that's what you keep getting polished in an MBA school. Every presentation that you do, every assignment that you do, every group discussion that you do, every role play that you do, improves your soft skills. Every event management that you do, every interaction with the outside world, the industry visitors that you do, improves your communication skills. The focus at an MBA college is around solving real problems. There is a lot of technology aid these days which we teach at an MBA school, and that, I mean, you would have heard about. Obviously, everybody works with Microsoft Word, Excel, there's a computer, there's a laptop, there's a palm top, there is a smartphone. Everything can happen these days through these magical machines. There are email systems, there are Google Meet, there are Teams, there are smart systems everywhere. So we help, an MBA college actually helps you use these tools, technology tools, smartly to solve the real problems. You don't just learn that this is the right way of doing this is the right way of doing things. You actually do it, so the problem is really real that you are trying to solve there. It has to look into the future. These solutions can never be temporary. Every day you cannot deal with the same problem. So you need some science, some use of technology, but then the focus is on real life and real business problems. There is no theory of good work. It's a matter of discovery. It's a matter of your skill. One person with the same knowledge levels, you can't say same knowledge levels, that's always will be different, but same background, engineering, same background, let's say Takshila Business School MBA, but he may perform differently in the same industry also. So the focus at an MBA school is more on the problem, is on real situations that are written in books and case studies, and you discuss a lot, threadbare, pros, cons, yes, no, taking sides, arguing, debating, but you are trying to understand real life problems. It is not about theoretical problems. Everything that you do here is to develop a perspective around a real life problem. That's what an MBA school would deal with you. Let's have a question here, and I'm quite fond of asking questions and taking leads from the participants. And the question to you here is: at job you have a responsibility of solving a problem. Can you pass on that responsibility to others? I mean, it should be a very simple question, but let's have this question. But there is no way in which you can actually pass on the responsibility to others by not affecting your own chance, or by not affecting an impression around you that you failed in solving that problem. Nobody wants that stamp of failure, right? You always try to work out things. That's what also a management college teaches you, because there is no one best way of doing things. At job, you are solving different problems. You just cannot hand over the problem to somebody else. So what does that lead to? It leads to stress. Stress of all kinds. Stress is existence everywhere, everyday life. And business stress is one of the biggest stress that you have to deal with. Performance is a stress. Time management is a stress. Workload is a stress. Somebody else doing better than me is a stress. I did not have a very good conversation with my wife before coming to office today. That's a stress. If I have to change a job, what next job I will get, even the thought process is a stress. Now, how do you teach people how to deal with stress? A good MBA education will help you do that. At Takshila, if I have to explain to you how do we deal with it, we have students going through quite a number of days in a month, 12 hours of classes. Not necessarily 12 hours of knowledge sharing, but 12 hours of classes means you have to prepare something and present in the class. You have to discuss in the class. You have to be present in the class. You have to have that prior knowledge. You should have read the book chapter, you should have read the case study, you should have thought over it in a group environment before actually trying to take sides. That's a stress. You have to submit your assignments by midnight. That is a stress we are creating. You have to work in a group and the group should feel that everybody worked and contributed. That's a stress. While doing all your courses, you have to still write your book review. That's a workload stress. And we try to create those stresses consciously in order to that, tomorrow. And we have got great reviews from our recruiters who come back and say, there's one thing if you have to ask me that, what your students are very good at is about they do not get ruffled when I give them more job. Not a good thing, obviously, always keep on getting good jobs is not a very good thing, but they do not get ruffled. They are able to manage their stress. They are on time on most of the things. And that's about dealing with stress. That's an MBA college would teach you. The other thing, and let's quickly now go through perspectives. Let's have a question there. A quick poll on. The question is, can management teach one best way of doing things? Is that 75% of you say that yes, the management can teach one best way of doing things. Let me tell you guys, and please take it with a pinch of salt that actually there is no one best way of doing anything. That's number one. If something was done in a certain way in the past, there is no science that can tell you that the same solution will work today. So even if you have learned how Hindustan Lever created a fantastic product profile, or Amul dairy products, that they created one best way of doing things, or an Indigo Airlines, one best way of doing a budget airlines, that's the best way of doing things? Yes. There is a science of, you just note down what they did and write a case, write a chapter, book chapter. But then if that was the case, if that was the best way, everybody would be doing that and they would be able to do that. There's an art of copying also. There is a copying of business models is not wrong. Nobody questions the copying of business models. People only question copying of brand names and brand logo identities. But there is nobody who can actually challenge you doing the same business, because that is what is called competition. There is no one best way of doing things. And that's why what does an MBA college does is teach you a perspective. There's no one best way, out of box thinking. Every case that we discuss here has pros and cons. Some people might say that, this worked then, it will not work now. Then the question the professor will ask, tell me why it will not work today. So you'll have a different reasons. People are different, times are different, consumer behavior is different, policies have changed, economic growth has changed, people have larger income. We might be able to do better today than what we had been able to do in the past. It's about perspective. There is no one best way. It's about understanding different ways. Your out-of-box thinking one option, another option, third option, fourth option, and you should be able to do your internal mind pros and cons of every option. That is what MBA school teaches you. It wants you to create perspectives, options, and analyze those options in your mind. And that is where the next point, that an MBA school teaches you how to be comprehensive. You don't. We have the last 5 minutes to cover up my part of the story, and then we will have question answer sessions following this. So comprehensiveness, we integrate everything together. That's important, because you can teach finance separately, operations separately, HR separately, business strategy separately, legal separately. There are different careers also, but who are the people who are sitting in this chair of a CEO? The managing directors? They are the people who have a comprehensive, holistic understanding of the entire business. So that's what MBA generally teaches you. I think we have a last question poll coming up, and that is around, what is more important, competition or collaboration? Collaboration is about joining hands and doing certain things. Competition is about being the best in the lot. All right, once again I have got the feel, and I love all the 3 responses here. That's the secret. I respect the competitive spirit of people, that they want to be better than others. That is how you are able to sell more than others. But there are a number of cases where collaboration has to happen. Collaboration amongst your internal teams, the people on your team, collaboration with bosses, collaboration with your raw material suppliers, in a lot of cases collaboration with the customer himself, especially in the industrial supplies. Competition is good because it helps you become different and better. Collaboration is good wherever there is a requirement. You have to understand what is going to work for me, and if collaboration is the right way going forward, that's what also the MBA school teaches you. All right. Competitive spirit is required because you need to differentiate, and collaboration is required because you work with people and you work with teams, and teams collaboration is going to give that 2 + 2 is greater than 4. You have to understand that. And that's what the MBA college, through different pedagogies that we talked about, they teach competitive spirit, develop that competitive spirit amongst the students first, and when you go out, you carry that spirit onto the industry and business field. And collaboration is about group work, group presentations, group assignments, when you group visits, all the event managements that we do, it's all about developing that collaboration and teamwork. And to top it all, what traits that you get that will differentiate you as a good manager versus an average manager, an excellent manager versus a mediocre manager, is to be able to develop those leadership qualities. Sense of humility, respect your student team members. If you're part of a team, you cannot take आज मेरा मन नहीं कर रहा है या आज मेरा सिर दर्द कर रहा है, and actually you want to go to a movie and ask your other members of the team to work on the project. That is called free riding. You have lost that sense, that person has lost that sense of respect. But then we have ways and means to ensure that everybody contributes, so they develop a sense of respect. Sense of humility. If you've done something wrong, you should be able to say sorry in front of a group. It's very difficult, I can tell you, at times, my own, son and daughter, I see them, it's very difficult to get them to say sorry even to us. Forget about, they're being able to say sorry to an entire group. But we create situations wherein people might fail and they have to say sorry. Sense of humility. And all of this, if you're able to do, mentor them, communication, soft skills, knowledge, comprehensiveness, perspective building, understanding unstructured situations and ambiguous situations, you're actually bringing out the leadership quality in people and improving their level of confidence. Where do you want to go then? The choice is yours. You want to go the way of excellence or the way of mediocrity. And that's a topic on which I have done a number of talks and seminars. That the problem is 95% plus people are leading a mediocre life with mediocre skills, not choosing the right way of doing things. Only a very few, and their stories, very few are excellent. So the important part then is, while the MBA college does a lot what they are supposed to do, your level of excellence will come only if you are going to believe that I want to be better. So invest in yourself. Make the best out of an MBA, because MBA as a finishing school, the last in the lifetime opportunity to go through a formal education, you must do it irrespective of cost. And that is, there is no ROI is just a wishy-washy thing. If you have to do some ROI calculation, you can also visit sites like mbaroi.in, mbaroi.in or .com. What's that? .in. There you might be able to get models to evaluate the MBA ROI. But to me, thinking about doing an MBA and trying to calculate an ROI may be a wrong point of start. The difference that you are going to make in the first 2 years, when you are looking at repaying that money back, you forget that your ability to be different, because you are an MBA, that goes with you for life. Next 40 years you are going to reap the benefit of having done that MBA compared to somebody else who had not done that MBA. So that is what it is. You just have to look. Cash flow is a problem that I can understand. So what you should look at is, does a college give you or encourage you or arrange for you some financing or loan facilities or scholarships? You should find out those things. Your focus should be on those things. Forget about the cost of doing an MBA. It is always going to give you returns through the entire life. If the cost is very high, that always comes with some extra level of preparation, extra level of respect for the institution. So you should not worry about it. What you should be worried about is to find out whether the education loans are available or not. So that brings me to the end of this session. Fantastic one. I think it was knowledge heavy, no doubt about that. But all those serious ones amongst you who really wanted to understand what they teach at MBA school, I'm sure they would have received at least a few ideas and a lot of clarity around what they can look forward to when they do an MBA. Choose your MBA college wisely. Keep that focus when you are at an MBA school, because it is you who will be responsible for your careers, and learning will be your responsibility. Resources will be given by the MBA school. So, and also, since it's a very difficult environment out there, I wish all of you stay safe and keep yourself fit for making or driving a fantastic future for yourself. All the best.